It was a cold Christmas Eve, and Santa was flying over snowy rooftops with his reindeer. His sleigh was full of gifts for children around the world. Santa loved his job, but one letter on his list made him curious. The letter, written in tiny handwriting, said, "Dear Santa, I have been very good this year. All I want for Christmas is a loaf of fresh bread and a small wedge of cheese. With love, your biggest believer." Santa scratched his head. Bread and cheese? That's an unusual request. But Santa always granted wishes, no matter what. When he reached a small cottage on his list, Santa climbed down the chimney with his sack. The room was quiet, lit only by the glow of the Christmas tree. Stockings hung by the fire, but no one was awake. Santa carefully placed the bread and cheese under the tree. Just as he stood up, he heard a soft rustling. He froze. "Who's there?" he whispered. A tiny voice squeaked. "Santa? Is it really you?" Santa turned, and out from under a chair came a little gray mouse with shiny eyes and a red scarf. Santa's jaw dropped. "A mouse?" The mouse nodded. "Yes, my name is Dusty. I wrote the letter. I didn't think you'd really come." Santa blinked in surprise. "You're my biggest believer?" Dusty smiled. "I am. I've waited all year to meet you. I hope it's okay I wrote to you. I didn't know if mice were allowed to make Christmas wishes." Santa laughed, his deep ho 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 making the ornaments shake. "Dusty, Christmas is for everyone, big or small. You've made my night." Dusty looked at the bread and cheese under the tree and said shyly, "This is all I wanted for Christmas, something simple to make it special." Santa crouched down and smiled warmly. "And you'll have it, Dusty. But I have one more surprise." He pulled out a tiny sparkling bell on a red ribbon from his sack. "Every believer deserves a little Christmas magic. This bell will always remind you of tonight." Dusty held the bell tightly, his eyes full of tears. "Thank you, Santa. It's perfect." Santa wasn't done. He reached into his sack again and brought out a small wooden table and chair, just the right size for a mouse. He set them by the fire and placed the bread and cheese on the table. Dusty climbed up and beamed with joy. "This is the best Christmas ever!" Santa smiled. With a loud ho ho ho, Santa climbed back up the chimney, leaving the cottage warm and glowing. As he flew into the starry night, Santa chuckled. "Well, that was a surprise. I'll never forget my biggest believer." And in the little cottage, Dusty sat by the fire, ringing his bell and enjoying his Christmas feast, knowing it was a night he'd never forget. The end.